Welcome to the 20th video in this series making a 2D racer with Unity. In this one we're going to make an oil slick that the car can actually slip on. And after what's been quite a complicated lead up to this, we've got something relatively simple I think to do for this video so you can relax a little bit. So let's start making our oil slick then. So I'll select the root here, right click, we'll do GameObject and create empty, and we'll call this then an oil slick. And then we're going to have two things with this. One, drawing layer, because we want the slick to be on top of the track, and two, collision layer as well. So at the top here, let's go to the layer, and do we have hazard in here? No, let's go to add layer, and on layer 9 we can put hazard, and let's have a look at the sorting layers here. So let's take a little bit of a look. So we've got car, track, effect. Let's add hazard in here, and I'll put this one actually I think below the effect like this, and also actually below the car as well. So we've got hazard for the drawing and hazard also for the collision. So we'll minimize those, then select our oil slick. At the top here then we can select hazard. Then we're going to add a component. That's going to be a sprite renderer. Then clicking the circle here, we can add the oil 0. That's this one. That should put a splat in here somewhere, or it would do if we actually change the sorting layer. So I'll change this into hazard, and I can see that it's right here. It's really, really hidden though. If I turn these off, there we go. That's better. If we disappear and zoom in, there is our oil slick for us. Okay, I think in terms of size, that might be about right. Let's press W and just move this and have a look. That's actually not too bad. Too big and then become a little bit annoying. And we're going to do Control Z just to reset that back to 0, 0. Let's add then a collider onto this as well. So we'll add components, and here we'll grab a circle collider 2D. We want this one to be purely a trigger in this case. Then we can go into collider edit mode here. And actually that looks pretty much perfect. Actually, in fact, yeah, I'm going to leave that like that. That looks good. All right then, so that's a radius of 0.205. Maybe it's slightly bigger actually. What about 1.9? Yeah, okay. I think that looks a little bit better. Okay, so I'll save that then. And that, believe it or not, is pretty much it. What we can do is we can prefab this actually. So I'll open up the prefabs folder here. And then where are you? Oil slick. Drag you and drop you into here. And then select the oil slick at the top here with the move tool. And let's move it to somewhere where we're going to be able to eventually drive over it and make sure that it's working. So maybe I'll put it here. I'll turn the gizmos back on actually to see where the spline is for the racing line for the computer cars later. Yeah, it looks about all right. We'll put it, say, here, I think. Okay, so going into the prefab itself with this arrow here, let's add a component, and we'll add a new script, and we'll call this oil slick, create and add. Then we can go up to the scripts here. I'm going to put this actually in hazards, I think. So new folder, and then inside hazards, and save. Let Unity whir away for a moment, and then we can double click on our oil slick. So with our oil slick, actually, we don't need any of this at all. It's literally going to sit there and wait for cars to hit it. Let's open up the track, because I think we're doing something very similar in the track here. Got quite a bit of code in here, haven't we? But this is the one we want. So I'm actually going to take all of this and copy this, go back to the oil slick here, and then paste this in here. And then we'll call var and just call this car here. And that's going to be other get component. And we're looking here for the car slip. And maybe we should call this actually car slip as well, I think. And then we can say if the car slip is equal to null, then we're going to return. Otherwise, we don't need to mess around with any of this at all here. We can delete all of that. We can get hold of our car slip, and then we can invoke the public hit oil function. And I think, believe it or not, that is all we need to do. It's everything seeming a little bit simpler than the previous videos we've done recently, I think. So back inside the Unity IDE, let's go back out into the game here. And then on the left-hand side, I'm actually going to duplicate this oil slick as well, and put another one maybe here or something like that. Just want to have a quick drive with the player and make sure that we can actually hit these. So I'm going to run the game. Now our test key will still work as well here, that doesn't matter at all. Main thing now is hopefully we can hit them. So I'm going to start the race, and let's have a look what happens here. We don't slip, which is really interesting, isn't it? And I know why it is. I've missed something, haven't I? So let's stop this and then go to edit, and we can go to project settings. Then the project settings in the physics 2D on the left hand side. Yeah, I thought so. We need to actually set the car colliding with the hazards. Oh, that's better. So I'll close down the settings. I did notice the debug label was on there. I'm going to select that and actually turn that off. We don't really need it. Then we can run the application. Okay, a drum roll then. Am I able, as usual, to hit an oil slick? So let's have a look then. Can we hit an oil slick? Yes, we can. Cool, we span. Excellent, that's really good. And we've recovered as well. That's nice. Let's see if we hit this one as well. I guess so. We did. Cool, and we didn't bounce. Good, we've got our hazard in here, and I managed to miss one by accident. Amazing. Okay, good. Excellent, so that's working. So I'll close that down. What I'd like to do now is check that the CPU cars are hitting these. I mean, they should be. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Nevertheless, it's worth probably checking. So I'm going to select this car here. Duplicate this one actually, and with the move tool move it to here. Then we can remove the player component from here, can't we? And let's add then our CPU car movement to this. Now we already have the car slip on here with the slip setting, so everything should be okay. So let's go for a profile. We'll go for a high skill here, so we're on the racing line, that's these here. And the debug label we don't need at all. Then in terms of the definition, we've got possum here, that'll do. I'm going to do one more of these as well. So the definition here then can be, let's say, Jabbit on this one. And I'll move this one to here. And let's make this a different skill. So we'll make this then a lower skill one. So we can run the application then, and let's see what these do. Hopefully they collide with the oil. Let's go, and yeah, one collided. Oh, of course, the low-skilled one missed them. It's hit that one though. Yeah, that looks really good. They're spinning away. Okay, the low-skilled one's now crashing into the walls. Let's see if it stays on the racing line here. Yep, it's hit it. Excellent. And is it going to hit that? Yes. Cool, so they're also hitting the oil slicks. That's really good. All right then, so let's close that down. To finish off the implementation of our OilSlick, what I'd like to do is have them remove themselves also from the game after a period of time. Now, later on, this will actually be set by an oil dropper, which is going to go random around the track and drop random oil slicks. But now we don't have that. So what we'll do is hard code a value in and make sure that after that time's elapsed, they can remove themselves. So we'll select the oil slick here on the left-hand side, double click on the script. Then at the top of the definition, let's serialize ourselves a field of lifetime, and we'll leave it at 10 seconds to start with. Then let's implement the start. And inside here, basically what we want to do is start a coroutine. And when that runs out, then we can destroy this particular game object. So we'll do private and IEnumerator, and we'll call this, let's call it life routine. And then we'll yield return a new wait for seconds, and that'll be then our lifetime. And once that's done, we can then destroy the game object. And that should, after 10 seconds, have the oil slicks disappearing. Well, it would do if I actually started the coroutine. So let's have a go at that. So start coroutine, and that'll be then our life routine. Okay then, so with that done, back into the IDE. So back in the IDE then, let's give this a whirl and see if after 10 seconds our oil slicks disappear. So I'm going to start the race. It doesn't really make any difference actually. I think they'll disappear anyway after 10 seconds, but let's see what happens here. So the computer cars are dying as usual. Let's see if after 10 seconds they vanish. And they've vanished. Excellent. Cool. All right then, so I'll close that down. Now I was originally planning actually to stop the video at this point, but we've actually got through that really quickly, haven't we? And the next stage is to actually make this game object, which is going to drop random oil slicks as the race is happening. I think actually maybe we can do this in this video. I hope that's okay with you. So to do this, what we're going to do is add a new game object and a couple of components to it. The first one we're going to call spline walker 2D, and that's going to do what this line says here. It's effectively going to walk the spline. You'll see we'll set a speed on it. It's going to get hold of the spline, and it's just going to follow that at whatever speed it has. And we'll be able to see that from the scene view whilst the game is running, because it won't actually have any visuals. Then once we've got that working and going around the track, we'll add in an oil dropper component. And that's going to be responsible for, as the name suggests, randomly dropping oil slicks at random intervals of time as the spline walker 2D is going around the track. And we'll put some configuration on here as well for the random intervals between dropping them and also the lifetime of the oil slicks themselves. Back inside the IDE then, the root of the scene selected, I'll right click GameObject, create empty, and I'm going to call this oil, I think droppers actually, because we may on a track have more than one. So we'll put oil droppers, then right click here and we can do create empty again and call this oil dropper. And to start off with, we'll get this sort of walking the spline. So on the right-hand side, we can click Add Components. We'll add ourselves a new script, and we'll call this then Spline Walker 2D. Let's save this then inside the hazards as well. And having said that it stays in the hazards, I'm not actually sure it really should, because its job is just walking the spline, really, isn't it? What do we have here? UI, track, race. I'm going to drag this actually and put this in the track, I think. Okay, so let's double-click on our Spline Walker 2D. And then inside here, let's replace the start for awake. And we can get rid of that comment. And at the top, we'll serialize a field, which is going to allow us to get hold of our spline container. We need here the using Unity engine splines. And then we'll make another field, which is going to be the speeds. Serialize field, private, this will be a float and speed. And then to make things a little bit easier to calculate, we'll add a couple of private variables. So we'll add a float for the distance, and then a float also for the length of our spline. And inside the awake, we can set these up. So the length is going to be equal to our spline calculate length. And we've seen spline things quite a bit in the track builder earlier on in the series, so hopefully you can remember that. And then the distance is going to be how far we are along the path. So we'll start off by making that random. So we'll say that our distance is equal to, and then we can take a random.value and multiply that then by the length. And now inside the update, we can simply update the position. So we'll increment our distance. So our distance is then plus equal to our speed times by time delta time. Then we want to wrap around. So we'll get our distance and we'll do modulo equals to our length. And now we can set our position. And we do that using the evaluate position that I'm pretty sure we've already seen inside the track builder. In fact, let me find this in here. I'm just going to find this. There we go. We've got the spline evaluate position with the distance over the spline length. That's exactly what we're about to do. So I'll close that down. In fact, spline length would have been a little bit of a better name. So I'll go back to the spline walker here and we'll go spline length and spline length and spline length and spline length. That's better. So finally then we can get our transform dot and position. And that's going to be equal then to our spline dot evaluate position. And that will be our distance divided by the spline length. So what this should do is this should place this somewhere randomly along the spline to start with as soon as it wakes up. And then it should just simply loop around and around our spline at the speed that we set then in the inspector. So back inside Unity then, I'm going to add a speed, say, of, I'm going to make it really high to start with. So I'll do 14. We need to get hold of the spline here. That's our spline container. That's here. So I'll drag and drop that into this slot. And then if we run the application, what we should see, we'll have to be in the scene view for this because we can't see anything in game view, but in the scene view, what we should see is our oil dropper, going round and round at high speed. Cool. It is jumping here with the wraparound. That doesn't really matter too much. It just means we'll never get an oil slick in this bit here. I don't mind that. I hope that's okay with you. So I'm going to stop this. On the right hand side, let's adjust the speed to something a little bit more realistic, maybe 8 or something like that. And what I'd like to do is have multiple of these going around and just check that they're not sort of intersecting with each other or anything like that. And we can't actually see them because they're invisible. So what we'll do temporarily is we'll put a sprite render on here. So I'll click Add Component and find a sprite renderer. Then we'll take the dot here, I think. Now it's going to be really big if we put that on the effect sorting layer there. That's too big. So let's go to the color, make this green, and then go up to the, I'll click on that again, then go up to the transform at the top here. And we can link here and scale this down to 0.15 or something like that, just so we can see where they are. This is really temporary. We're about to change it. But what I'd like to do now is keep with the spline walker at speed of 8 here and the transform like this. So actually get this one and duplicate it. So we've got 2 of them and duplicate it actually again. Then let's run the application, and hopefully now we see 3 dots that are not sitting on top of each other. That's the main thing. Okay, good. Okay, so we can clearly see there we've got them moving around the track. All right then, so we can close that down. Then I'm going to delete both of these oil droppers because we don't need them. Select the first one here and get rid of the sprite render as well. And also reset the scale to 1 here. Always a good idea, unless you have some special reason for the scaling. So I'll save that. And with that done, we can actually prefab this, can't we? So let's move this up here and go to the prefabs. We can drag and drop our oil dropper into here. To control us to save, reselect. On the right hand side, I just want to check, yep, the spline reference is okay. We have to be a little bit careful here. Let's drag another prefab into here actually. So if I drag one as a child of this, it has no spline reference. You do need to remember to set that up when you're dragging these into here. In fact, what we can do is leave that one in here and set up the spline reference. So I'll click on that. Maybe leave this also as a speed of 8. All right, so the next thing to do now is actually to get it to drop the oil. So let's add ourselves another component, this time though to the prefab. So clicking the oil dropper here, let's go into the prefab. And with that selected, we can add component, and that's going to be a new script. And we'll call this oil dropper. Click create and add, and this one can go into hazards. Once Unity has finished whirring away, what we can do is double click on it. Then inside our oil dropper, the first thing we'll do actually is inside the awake, which we don't have here. So let's use the start. We'll make a check as to whether we actually have a spline walker 2D. And the reason I'm not using the require component here is if I just add in the require component, that will add a require component automatically if it's not available, which isn't kind of ideal here. So what we're going to do is make sure that we've actually placed one ourselves. So we'll then say if not, and try get component spline walker 2D. Then we can do just out and underscore. Then we're going to go to the car bounce here and take this, and then go back to the oil dropper and paste this here and take this out of here. Just put oil dropper is missing, or oil dropper missing spline walker 2D. Then we can set enables is equal to false and return. So for our oil dropper to work, we need a few things. The first thing we need is a serialized field, which is going to be the prefab to the OilSlick. Now in our case, we only have one of these, so we could have maybe loaded this from the code directly. But I did have in mind that maybe you want other hazards and things like that, so this allows a little bit of flexibility. Next up, we'll serialize a range of drop time. So by default, it's between 3 and 8 seconds here, which is quite frequent, especially if you've got a few of these going around. And finally, we'll serialize a drop scatter. So this one is a distance in units that we will randomly drop away from where the oil dropper currently is, because remember that will always be on the ideal racing line. And by default, we've set that to 1 unit. Then we'll add in a private variable, which is the next drop time. And then one more to say whether we're running or not. So we're only going to drop oil slicks if the race is actually ongoing. So we're not going to do it before we started, and we're not going to do it when the race is over, which means we're going to have to connect up to those signals, doesn't it? So we do have in the race controller, I think, some code connecting up to these already. Here it is. So what we can do is copy this from here. I'll go back into our oil dropper and then place this, I think, below the awake. And instead of lap completed, we need the race over. And then we'll do on race over and on race start. And then we can generate these methods. Now they've gone above the on disable, so I'll cut that and put those below. So when the race starts, we can set our running to true. And when the race is over, we can set the running to false. And let's go then into the update. So if we're not running, we're not going to do anything here. Now we want to check whether we've exceeded our next drop time. If we haven't, then we're not going to drop a slick. And for this, we'll actually use the amount of time that's elapsed since the start of the application. So we can say if time dot and time. If that is less than our next drop time, then we'll simply return. You'll see in a moment we're going to use the time.time to set this. So basically the next drop time will be the time.time plus the amount of drop time which we have in this random range here. So I'll scroll back down. Otherwise, if we've passed both these checks, then we're able to drop an oil slick. And to do that, maybe we can write a function for this actually. So I'll do private void drop oil. And looking at the private there, maybe with the update, we should have this as well. That's better. Did I put it on the others? Yes. Okay. So the first thing we do is get our offset from where we currently are. So we'll say vector2 and offset. And basically we want to go randomly outwards from where we're dropping up to the amount of our drop scatter. And luckily on random, there's a handy way of doing this. So if we do random dot, and let's check up here if I got this system. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to delete system from here and go down to here. Hopefully now it's a little bit better. There we go. Inside unit circle. If I hover over this, it tells you what it does. It gets you a random point inside or on a circle within a radius of 1. Then we can multiply that by our drop scatter, which is actually 1 as well at the moment, but obviously we could change that. So basically we're saying this offset will be a random offset within 1 unit distance away from wherever we are. So the position we want to drop then, so we can say vector2 and position is equal to then, and we'll get a vector2 cast of our transform.position plus the offset. Now we have the position that we want to instantiate our oil, we can do so. So we can do instantiate, then we'll take our slick prefab, put it at that position, and the rotation will be quaternion.identity, which is 0 rotation. With that written, what we can do then is we can put the drop oil in here, and if these checks pass in the update, we'll be dropping oil. We can't run it yet though, because otherwise we'll be infinitely dropping basically. We have one more thing to do, and that's schedule this. So we'll make another private void called schedule drop. Inside here then we can set our next drop time to be equal to our current time elapsed since the application started, plus, and then we want random.range, and that's our drop time range X and Y. And then finally, last but not least, once we've dropped some oil, we can schedule the next drop. And then when the race starts, here we are, we can also do it as well. And I think that is everything we need. I appreciate we've done quite a bit of code there, but we kind of needed to get it all in for this to work properly. But what should happen now is when the application first starts, first of all, it checks whether it has a spline walker, otherwise it's not going to bother doing anything. Then we connect up to the race start and the race overs. And at some point, the race will start. When the race starts, running is set to true, and we invoke schedule drop. What schedule drop will do is get us a next drop time, which is the current time that's elapsed since the application started, plus something random in our range, which I think is 3 to 8 seconds. So let's say next drop time is now 3 seconds from now. Then we come into the update. We're running, so that passes. This will immediately pass, but at some point, this will be bigger than this time here. So we'll fall through, we'll instantiate and drop some oil, and then we'll schedule the next drop, which will increase this by 3 to 8 seconds. Then when we're dropping oil, we get a random point within a unit away from where we are. That position is where we are plus that offset, and then we instantiate that here. We could, of course, pack this all into one line if we wanted. I just thought it was a little bit clearer like this. That seems to be, from the logic, okay. We don't have any red squiggly lines, which is always a good sign. So back in the IDE, I'm going to go to the prefabs here and just drag the OilSlick into here and save this, and then come out of the oil dropper. And let's just check we're all looking okay. So we do have an OilSlick here, and we do also have an OilSlick here as well. Let's then delete this one from here, actually. So we've just got one of them. I'll select that one, and we'll make the time range maybe 1 to 4 seconds, so we get them a little bit quicker. That drop scatter might be a little bit too big. We might end up with things right over the edges of the track. We'll find out though, so I'll make a little bit more space here. Then let's run the application and see if we actually get some drops. Okay, so the race has started and I'm waiting. Yeah, I can see OilSlicks already. Oh, they're appearing everywhere. You can clearly see where it is from where they're appearing. Excellent. Now the main thing is do they disappear after a little bit of time? Yep, I've seen one disappear and those disappear. Cool, that's working. It of course needs a little bit of tuning with speed and also frequency of drops, but they are now working and causing all sorts of problems for the computer cards as well. And oh, the race is also over. Excellent. One thing I'm looking at here is the position is still updating for the dropper. That's okay, but what we want to make sure is we don't see any extra OilSlicks. And indeed we don't. Cool. All right then, so I'll stop that. Okay, and I think that really is a good place to stop this particular video. So we've done a huge amount in this one. We've created our OilSlick and we've created our oil dropper as well, which we can add, in fact, as many of them as we want to our game and have them dropping OilSlicks. I hope you can see also it's pretty easy to extend this and drop other things if you wanted to as well. And now we have that done, in the next video, we're going to do something rather structural. We're going to implement an object pool so that we can reuse the OilSlicks rather than have to recreate one each time we need one. So well done for getting through this one. Comments, questions, welcome as always on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.